Yo, what up, Internet? We're back. Truanseez, another class skip for all the right reasons. Before I introduce my super cool guest, I want to say shout out to everyone that's been leaving all these positive comments and the natural following we've been building. I appreciate you guys, truly. Yeah, we're going to keep it going, so thanks. With me today, though, I got a lovely guest, um, super in tune with the grooves, Angela Jane Bachmann.
Yeah,
How you doing today?
I'm good.
Thanks
How
for
are
coming
you?
by.
Thank you. This is awesome.
Hell yeah. How was the drive over here?
It was good. I rented a car for it.
Yeah.
I got a Dodge
Yeah, no, I saw that. I was like,
Charger.
you rolled up here fast and furious. For real.
I know. I was like, okay,
Was that
okay.
your choice? Like,
No,
that's what they gave
this
you?
is what landed in my
Yeah.
lap.
Yeah, it was funny. I recently had a deal with having a rental, too. I just dropped off the rental a couple days ago. I got in like a little fender bender. It wasn't too bad. But they gave me the option of SUV, like a Ford SUV or a Dodge minivan, and I was like, I'm taking the SUV. Me rolling around in a minivan looks super sketch. Um, but yeah, shout out to renting cars, I guess.
Renting
You know. But yeah, so the drive over here wasn't too bad.
No, it's nice. It's coming from Long Beach. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, like these roads are wide.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a beautiful day too.
It's a beautiful day.
Like I said, it's not bad. We're still privileged out here. But
Good.
yeah. So another Long Beach head. Last
Yeah.
week we had Temo,
Yeah.
and yeah. So are you native to Long Beach, or did you make your way out there?
No, so I grew up in Denver.
Okay, yeah. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
have a different state of
Vibe.
mind, yeah. But like also, you do fit very well in California too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And
for
how long have
sure.
you been out here for?
So it's been 9 years.
9 years.
Yeah.
And you originally from Denver.
Originally from Denver and then moved to New York City.
You were out in New York
Yeah.
for a while.
I was in California for like 1 year.
Mhm.
I got a job doing hair
Okay.
in New York City. I went to school for hair
Okay.
in California. I lived
Yeah.
in Irvine, which was like the fucking like. Oh, I don't know if I'm supposed to cut.
Dude,
Okay.
express yourself. Express yourself. We don't hold back here.
I don't want any, conservative moms angry. Actually,
Well,
I don't care.
They're gonna have to. Yeah, they're gonna have to hear how we naturally talk.
It's funny because I grew up in a family that, like, always cussed. Like,
Yeah.
there was no filter, like,
Yeah.
ever. Not even when we were, like, little, So, like, it's so funny because even, like, I always just feel like kids can hear this. They just have to learn when to say it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I know it always tripped me out because same thing growing up in my house. No one used cuss words. They thought it was. Well, I meant to say it's the opposite. No one used curse words in my pad, and it was always like forbidden. But we watched TV shows and eventually and movies growing up in the '90s, and it was just curse words all over. So that's where I learned in third grade. By the time I was in third grade, it was over. I was
Right.
like, using every
Yeah.
fuck this, fuck that, And now I'm trying to work on like cutting that out of my
Right.
vocabulary.
Right.
But it's still, every now and then you got to let it out because
Yeah.
it just feels genuine and natural.
Yeah.
So with that being said, fuck it up.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so I lived in Irvine for a year, and that was like so crazy because it was so like I was expecting to move to California, and it would be like this like super
glamorous.
different
Yeah.
experience than living in Irvine was
Yeah.
for that year.
Yeah. I mean, Irvine has its parts, but definitely a situation where you look at it and it's still pretty.
I feel like I had a hard time because it was like a lot of old people that wouldn't say hi and stuff like that,
Mhm.
which is like completely different of like Long Beach and shit because like Long Beach people like say hi to you.
Yeah, Long
and
Beach, I
everything.
feel like is one of the last utopias in California where it's still pretty gentrified, but it still has a natural rawness to it.
Yeah.
And it's one of the last spots, in my opinion, in California that just has all around. It's always a good time there,
Right.
from the north to even
Yeah.
down Belmont Shores area.
Mhm. Well, I feel like it's still affordable. Which
Still
is,
affordable.
Like, I feel like everywhere else, and like during the pandemic, it's been like I would rather be in Long Beach than a lot of other places.
Yeah.
Because I can go down to the beach and like chill and.
And everyone's
Everybody-
mellow, dude. And everyone's
Yeah.
like seems like they're moving at their own pace, and no one's putting on this portrayal that you got it way doper than you really
Right.
have it.
Yeah.
I feel like Long Beach is
A
still
lot
like
of fronting.
yeah, a lot of fun, but I feel like Long Beach embraces like, look, I believe in just being a chill person and embracing the art that comes out of there and all of the culture
Yeah.
that comes out of there, you know?
Totally. I mean, I moved from New York City to Long Beach specifically just for music.
Yeah.
That's why I ended up in Long Beach.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you got there, did you have people that you knew were already doing music?
Yeah. So I was recording music with Steve Choi from RX Bandits.
Dope.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is he the person that convinced you to move to Long Beach?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say he like convinced me, but he was just kind of like, why are you living in New York City? You're like just going to constantly be like doing like, you're working too hard on the hustle.
Yeah.
To like, you're just running in place instead of spending your time on the art. And so when I moved out here, it was crazy because it was like, whoa, there's like way more time in the day to like, work on art. And it was like a different pace. Like, in New York, it's like everything's so much faster. And like coming out here, I was like, dang, like takes them forever to make bagels or like these people are just on vacation around here. And now I'm totally on that like Cali time.
Yeah.
Completely. But I remember like first coming out here and being like, dude, these people are just taking their time to do everything. Like,
yeah. So I kind of want to backtrack a little bit. In Denver, you were born and raised?
Yeah, until I was 20.
20?
Yeah.
And then were you always doing music out even in Denver?
No, I didn't start writing music until I went to hair school.
Okay.
And I saw these girls play. I'm not gonna say who, but I saw them play. My friend was like their manager, and I like left their show like all kind of like pissed. And I was like, why am I so pissed? And I was like, oh, it's because like I feel like I should be doing that.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, maybe I should just try to write a song and see what happens. And then I just started writing songs. I was like, oh, I can totally do this. This is like a thing that I can do.
Now, when you say you were kind of pissed or you felt some type of aggressive emotion, was it because you weren't happy with the music that they're like the sound, the show, or you were just more
I felt like I was just kind of like, whoa, like that. I feel like I could do better.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
that was like my feeling.
And you felt it and you ran with it because now music is like, a big part of who you're being.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That was in New York. You said you saw those girls.
No, that was in California when I lived here for a year.
Okay.
And then I got a job doing hair in New York.
Okay.
And I moved there and started doing hair and music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then from there, is that where in New York is when you linked up with some of the RX guys?
Yeah.
Because you saw them play, or?
It's funny because we had a couple, I guess, like mutual friends that I didn't know were mutual friends. And I went to see RX Bandits play because my friend was like, "Oh, I've got an extra ticket. If you want to come with."
Yeah.
And and then I met Steve then, and we like became friends. And I had asked him just if he knew anyone to mix I had recorded a record. And I asked him if he knew anyone to mix it, and then he was like, I want to do it. I'm down.
Dope.
And we started collaborating from
Shout out to Choi.
Yeah.
At the time, were you playing just guitar and singing, or were you
I was playing piano. I was mainly writing on piano.
Dope.
Keys and stuff, and playing shows in New York and
Okay.
stuff like that. Yeah.
And that was the first instrument that you gravitated towards?
Yeah. It was just the first thing I had, I think. At that point, I had like some Casio, like tiny little Casio, just like writing like songs to it.
Yeah, and I think from there,
myself.
From what I understand in music theory, is like if you can master the keys, you can apply that to a lot of the scales on guitar and bass and all the other stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's dope.
That was like, because I learned the piano first, and then I was like, always had dabbled with guitar, and then I was like, I like really want to start like writing on guitar and stuff. So I bought a guitar in New York.
Dope.
And it's the same guitar I have now.
Nice. What guitar is it?
It's a black Fender Telecaster. It's an Aerodyne Tele.
A Blasik. And so from there, Choi's records the first songs that you had.
He didn't
composed,
record them.
or
he like mixed them.
Mixed them,
yeah,
mastered.
He mixed them up.
Yeah. And is that music still online somewhere?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Dope. And what year was that? Was that like 2005, 6?
I don't know. 2008, 2009.
Oh, a little later than that then. Okay.
Yeah.
For sure.
I don't know.
It's
2010 maybe
Okay,
was like when the first stuff
for
I
sure.
started putting out.
And then from there, you from New York, you're writing music and you feel comfortable, and then you make your way back to California,
Yeah.
and then you're in Long Beach, and now you feel a little bit more confident in your music capabilities.
Yeah.
You've established cool friendships with
Yeah.
dope musicians,
Yeah.
and then do you start a band when you come back when you get to California?
So yeah, well I started. I was doing solo stuff,
Uh-huh.
and then I started Surf
Surf
Riot.
Riot, yeah, okay, that's when that comes into play.
Yeah, that's
So-
when that. Shout out to
Surf Riot,
Riot.
yeah. Shout out to Procaccini and everybody in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope.
That was fun.
So that makes sense. So I got to know you when technically you first got to California.
Yeah,
then.
so it's probably been like 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah,
Dope.
because that was the first job. Was your friend Michael
Yeah.
Procaccini?
Yeah.
Who has La Parolaccia. He makes
Shout
the
out to La Parolaccia.
best pizza.
Yeah. He's a master at what he does too.
Master chef.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got a job there, and then Michael, who was just like a little baby at that point, I was like, oh, like I'm starting a band or whatever, and he was like, I want to play bass.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was in a band
His
with
hair
Pro.
was all long.
Yeah. Italian stallion ass fool. But I remember, being in a band with Proc, and he was originally on guitar, and then really just out of nowhere dove into bass and became, he bought a sick Emperor bass cab, and I was like, oh, he's like a bassist now, you know? And then that makes sense around the same time as when he shifted, and he's like, yeah, I'm in a band with Goose and Angela and Crisanta and everybody, and I was like, oh, I didn't know any of you guys first. He introduced me, but then I later found out that all of you guys had, previous, establishments in music and did cool stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Surf Riot was cool, and that lasted about a year or two.
Yeah. Yeah. It was short-lived.
And then from there, you decided to continue doing your solo.
Yeah. So I was doing solo stuff, and then the solo stuff turned into what became the next project called Toy Pony.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was like one of those things. It was going to be a solo record. I went to Colorado and wrote a bunch of stuff, and then
You went back home.
yeah, for like
Okay.
a month. And when I was there, I wrote like tons of music and came back. I was like, I'm recording a new record. It's gonna be a solo thing. And then of course, like other people, some friends were like, who ended up being in the band, were like, we want to be like a part of this. This is really cool shit. So
Dope.
then it kind of turned into like a band
And
situation.
those bandmates were back from California when they heard it, or were they in Colorado
They're
too?
California.
California?
Yeah.
For sure.
I was recording with a guy named Eli Thompson.
Okay.
And Frank Lentz was the drummer. Eli is in like Father John Misty. He's recorded
dope.
tons of records.
Dope.
Tons of really cool records.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe, I think he's just finished recording the Nathaniel Ratliff.
Dope.
Ratliff?
Yeah. Dope.
So yeah.
Yeah, so
That's a
they're
cool record.
these are actual passionate musicians that are, paving their own path in the
Yeah.
music world too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, and it's kind of weird, with the times that we're in right now. I'm just hoping that when we do get to, see live shows, I've said this multiple times, I just hope that everyone that is doing music has been, staying sharp and
Right.
and optimistic,
Right.
even though it feels like sometimes you guys are probably going to be the last
Yeah.
of the,
Yeah. Yeah,
last
no
on the
one's
list.
letting them shows come back anytime soon.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
But beyond all that, so they joined the Toy Pony. You guys played some shows.
We did. We played some shows.
Did you guys tour at all?
No, one of our members got pregnant,
Mm.
and there was just a lot of crazy rock and roll shit going down.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it didn't last.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that
It's
was
just
like
another thing that like.
what, like 2012, 13,
No, that was like only maybe like 4 years ago.
4 years ago? Yeah.
3 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then from there you moved to where you continued to stay.
Oh yeah, I did move to Northern California for a year.
And what were you doing up there?
I went to herb school.
Herb
Kind of
school.
like
Oh
this,
yeah, I
like,
remember
I
it.
was just kind of like, I was like, I'm leaving Long Beach. I don't know if I want to do music stuff or what I want to do, but I need to get out. And so then I like went to Northern California for a year
And
and lived there.
and you were just growing a bunch of herbs and learning plant
Yeah,
science.
yeah, plant medicine. But it's funny because I didn't, I didn't.
Was that in Humboldt?
No, it's in Sonoma County.
Okay,
I went to California School of Herbal Studies,
dope.
which was like a really dope program. And it's like in the redwoods. It's super beautiful, like awesome spot. And it was like, I was just like, I ended up writing tons of music there though. Like it was like one of those things I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna do music anymore. Like, just feeling kind of like, you know,
Pessimistic on the
Yeah.
road of music.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I like of course ended up like writing tons, and I was like, oh, I guess I could never like stop.
Yeah, you
writing
can't let
music.
that go. And I don't think you ever should. I think if anything, every musician goes through a phase where they feel like giving up on the situation, and then they put themselves, because you guys are artists, you guys put yourselves
Yeah.
in a different environment, and then you guys thrive. Well,
Yeah.
not every artist, but
I feel
I've
like
seen
all
that's
artists have a moment. You have to have a moment of being like, what the hell am
yeah,
I doing?
yeah, some Shakespearean downfall of your mental.
in your mental stuff. Because
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of crazy. I feel like you have to be a little bit crazy to do art because
Mhm.
you have to be self-motivated in some sort of way, and you're kind of tapping into some like heavy shit sometimes when you're like writing, or when you're, I'm sure when you're painting or any of that. And then you're your own critic. You're your own, also your own like motivation and your own like, you know, everything is, you're reliant on yourself in like such a different kind of way that it can be actually like kind of like drive you a little crazy.
For sure. It'll definitely put you in a situation where you start to realize, yo, I feel like I'm 6 different people at once in my
Yeah.
head, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I feel about actors. When I think about actors and some of my favorite actors, I'm like, actor's just a weirdo who decided to make a career out of them being weird. Because
Yeah.
you have to really believe your occupation, and you have to really tap into these emotions that maybe sometimes might not even apply to you, but you make yourself cry, you make yourself angry. Like you look at someone like Heath Ledger, he literally
Went
put
crazy.
himself in the deepest, darkest moments for his acting.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and some people never come back from that.
Right.
So I feel like that could be applied to musicians too, especially some of the best ones. They drive themselves crazy for their art and put themselves in dark positions.
Yeah.
So yeah, I truly believe that there's some type of, I'm trying to think of the proper word, like without it sounding offensive
Just
to
say it.
actors and musicians. Yeah, you just have to be a little bit of a goddamn nut.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be you have
Yeah.
to tap into some type of, delusional, but also bring reality out of that delusion.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, I feel like the best stuff that I personally, as a musician, it's different because I feel like most of the time it's not all the time. Sometimes you write a story about someone else, or sometimes I'll talk about someone else's experience
Yeah.
through like something I'm writing. But I feel like with being a musician, it's like the best shit usually comes from like whatever I'm like really tapping into within myself.
Yeah.
That I usually don't like talk about with people.
For sure.
You know, like, and I feel like that's usually the better stuff that comes out is like the more personal.
Yeah. I mean, and it is all a subjective game, because some artists, in my opinion, are good at writing personal stories, and then some artists are good at writing fictional stories that are equally as intricate and valuable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like a weird
Right.
duo.
Right.
That's
I'm
why.
trying to think of an artist that writes fictional stuff.
Well, like I look at someone like Kendrick Lamar. Like obviously he speaks of, in my opinion, he speaks of real stories of growing up in Compton, and his view on the world, his family bringing religion, like the dynamic of religion, growing up as a black man in this world. But at the same time too, I also feel like he, just like every other artist in rap too, they also are good at storytelling, and they do a great job in making it sound you know, extremely realistic, but
Right.
there's obviously some comic book
Embellishments or-
effect to it. You know what I mean? There's some fantasy
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, totally. Actually, Kendrick Lamar is probably one of my biggest like writing inspirations.
Dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, Damn is my favorite. I'll say this every single time. Damn is my favorite biblical album of all time.
Yeah.
Like, that is more of an album that makes me believe in God than any other religion, like
that's so
an
cool.
actual Christian,
Right.
you know, album. And no disrespect to the Christians, but it's just a situation where I listen to it and I'm like, I like an album that has a perspective on religion and God that is also just as twisted and dark and questions
Right.
these actions
Yeah.
that we're forced to believe that everything, like, that we're going to heaven or hell depending on your actions.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that in itself ties back into some type of you have to be kind of a nut to have consistent faith in something that has a lot of holes you could punch in your
Yeah.
argument or your theory, you know?
Absolutely.
Like, faith in itself is a gamble.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally.
So it's a situation where I listen to Kendrick and I feel like he brings more of a realistic perspective on how I view God and this
Right.
life and an experience as a brown man, and just a constant, you know, while growing and trying to do better,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
but still having a, you know, as a man, you have flaws and you have a lot of, depending on your situation, your upbringing. But I had a lot of darkness through, you know, losing my mom at 5 years old and,
Right.
you know, dealing with family issues and all that stuff.
Right.
So I say all that to say is, beyond all that, not to say that Kendrick Lamar is a rapper that raps around fiction, but he definitely puts me in a position where I know that he's just trying his best to depict a story, even if it's not his story.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then magically, it's like magic. It really does relate to, like, everybody can relate
It's
to
like
it.
magic,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? I'm nowhere from Compton, but I relate to a lot of, you know, the things that he's seen. And as a brown man, you know, I can relate to a lot of the judgments that come from being a black man or whatever the case may be, you know? So, yeah, it's just those situations where I love listening to artists that can, you know, bring real raw emotion
Right.
while throwing in a little bit of fiction
Right.
to make the story
Yeah.
grander than it may be.
I feel like that's like the perfect mix of like bringing in like, because I feel like for me something that I'm working on is like strengthening my my storytelling, you know, and I look at different people that inspire that, and like I do think that there's like, you know, something about you know, if you just write a story and it's like this vague story and it's like not relatable to like anything you're experiencing, it just like doesn't really sit well.
Yeah.
You know, like people don't connect with it. It's kind of just like, oh, it's cute.
Yeah,
That's cute.
Like I said, I'm really big on being, it's all subjective. Like, while we might not like, you know, the really flat story side of music, like radio music maybe.
Right.
It doesn't have a lot of substance.
Right.
It's just meant for people to just get to work or party or whatever the case may be, not really think, just go.
Yeah.
I see both sides. I see why both sides are useful, you know?
Yeah.
Like, while I do want to sit and listen to an album that has substance and it might be a personal experience or a super deep and thoughtful sound, I also enjoy songs that
Or
make
just,
me
like,
forget
turn
about
up. Yeah.
make me forget about that for a minute, you know? So
totally.
I appreciate the double-edged sword that
Yeah.
is music. And I think as I get older, I start to realize I want to be less critical of judging anybody out here doing music that they like,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Because it's easy for us to sit there and judge and be like, that sucks because that's not real. I don't relate to that.
Right.
But someone might relate to it. Someone that literally lives a lifestyle where they're not as a deep or insightful human being. And that's cool too. Not
Right.
everyone needs to be
Right.
a poetic human being.
Right.
I like meeting some people that just go, you know, like just go and just don't think about shit and
Yeah.
just get through life
Yeah.
doing amazing things, or maybe not even do amazing things, just fucking, you know, they're just there
Right.
and whatever. Every
Right.
now and then I'll say what up to you, have a beer with you, and we could party, and then I'll just keep going and go back to listening to stuff that you guys make
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
deep and thoughtful and
Yeah.
and just like artistic, and I'm
Yeah.
like, fuck yeah, I need that for my soul, you know?
I can totally. I mean, I love pop music. Like I
Yeah.
love like shitty pop music.
Yeah, so same.
I love stuff that's just like funny, or I mean, I love every aspect of music.
I will say though, you know, one thing that we can attest to is in the past, pop music did still have some substance to its message. In a lot of the radio songs, you know, it was a
Right.
lot more. It was a lot, in my opinion. It felt like a lot more thought was
Right.
given into. I feel like it wasn't even intentional to make radio music. It was just like if it's dope, it'll get spun
It'll hit.
at records, you know, at radio stations.
Yeah.
And then now the formula changed where it's like we have like record labels and artists.
Yeah.
We're like we have to find an artist that is just gonna make turn up songs, and
Yeah.
I don't want people thinking
Formulas.
Yeah. The kids don't want to think, they just want to party and turn
Yeah.
up, you know.
Yeah.
But so yeah, so there's definitely you can definitely go insane on just even diving into the way the music industry has changed. You know, I'm sure you can attest to that.
Yeah.
Have you been in label meetings and talked to?
I've never reached out to a label ever.
Never.
Never.
Yeah, which is crazy because I think on the new album, I was was like, this sounds like it should be in movies and
Yeah, thank
you know, like bigger platforms.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, there was like a part of me that was like, oh, I should like reach out and find like a label for stuff. But there was like this other part of me that's like, it takes so much out of me, I think, like, to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know.
Well, 'cause it's a lot of
I get
politics, too.
anxiety of like emailing people.
Yeah.
Like, I get anxiety just being like, hey, can you help me with this record or anything like that? I
Yeah.
can't. I don't know. It's my own limitation.
For sure.
But so I just feel like in my lane, I'm comfortable just doing what I'm doing. And like, I, also hear like, oh, labels will find you. Like,
Yeah.
you don't hit people up or whatever.
Yeah. Well, like the game's definitely changed, and I feel, in my opinion, it's definitely crumbled. There is no reason to chase a label or want recognition from a label when, if you're an artist that understands hard work and being independent and moving at the pace where you want to make impact,
Yeah.
I feel like you can do that now, you know, with the internet and
Right.
and
I mean, it would be nice to have someone else spending their money on
For sure.
the shit that I'm spending my money on.
yeah,
you
but
know?
that also comes with the politics of
Right.
the record industries, where you have to get a lawyer because people sign these contracts, and you got like,
Yeah.
I mean, we're a little older now, but you see music tends to grab younger artists because they get younger people, and a lot of these young kids aren't mentally capable of, or do they even have the drive to read a contract or even care to get a
Right.
lawyer? And then you realize that like a 360 deal
Right.
ends up fucking over all these kids, and then you realize all these people that you think have this power because of the way the record label makes it look, they're really trapped, and they're a slave to this shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then once the record label's like, we're done with you, they dispose you, and someone faster, someone better looking, someone even
Right.
more commercially attractive comes and takes your place.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying?
Newer titties.
Newer titties. I like that. You know? Exactly. And you see that with artists in all types of genres, and it's cold. It's cold. But with that being said, I also feel like enough people have acknowledged this, and enough artists have acknowledged this, and now labels are shook because one of the most biggest illusion / I'm still trying to make sense of it, thing called the internet came and just fucked everyone up.
Yeah.
Gave everyone new titties and also
Yeah.
took old titties and all this shit. You know what I mean? It's just, it's wild.
Yeah.
It still baffles me on how fast commercial success happens because of the internet, and also how quickly it gets taken away. And everyone, like,
Yeah.
you could literally spend your whole life now not knowing anything that the radio plays
Yeah.
because of the internet.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know shit about
Yeah, you don't-
what's being played on
yeah.
the radio because I don't have a car, so.
For sure.
gotta check out the radio.
Yeah,
I have a car
yeah.
right now.
Yeah, no, trust. There's not really, no disrespect to anybody on the radio, but there's nothing really there that's, in my
holding
opinion.
people to it. Or,
Yeah, like you could find it on YouTube, you could find it on the internet, you could find just as cool.
I mean, I feel like the radio is dope, and it does lead a lot of things, like, you know, college radio and all that stuff.
For sure, NPR.
NPR, all
Yeah.
that stuff is like super awesome.
Yeah, but
So-
you see a lot of those radio stations are technically independent radio stations. The people power that. You know, I had, for the longest time before I had my new car, my radio was busted and all I could listen to was the radio. So I would listen to a lot of KCRW, and I eventually
I love
just
KCRW.
eventually just subscribed to it because I was like, you know, these guys give me exactly what I want to listen to. It's a mixture of music and political perspective,
Yeah.
and also just art around
Right.
the city. And so I was like, dude, I'll give them $20 a month or whatever.
Right. That's so cool.
Yeah, because it was a situation where I was like, yeah, this is how it's got to be. You got to, if you want more of
that.
more stuff curated to your personal stuff, and you don't want to be a
Gotta put your
robot out
money
here.
in it.
Yeah, you got to invest.
I feel like that's been a huge thing for me, because I feel like a big part of putting out a record on my own was like, I have to be the spokesperson putting it out. Like, you know, I have to constantly be posting about it and this and that, and like I, you know, put it up on Bandcamp, and I didn't really get a lot of people buying the record, and I kind of like put something up recently, just like, hey, where is everyone? Because I know some of you like this record.
Yeah,
like, I know I didn't put out like something that people aren't into, so just like wondering, do you guys like support art? Do you think, like, are you guys thinking about the fact that artists can't play shows right now, so no one's making any money? Like,
Yeah.
And ultimately, I have to just be like, well, I make art to make art, and I don't need to make any money from it. But it was really cool, because then after I kind of pointed that out, all these people responded, and people were like, you know, just be honest, like I was just being lazy. I wasn't thinking about it. You know, it's not that I like the record, but I can listen to it on Spotify and stuff. And it's like, but you gotta like be proactive about supporting artists right now, because like people, you know, just are so used to, especially music and even like Instagram content. Like I feel like people, like a lot of artists are on Instagram, but they have to keep up with the Joneses. They have to constantly be posting content to like build that thing, to get people to like, you know, it's more of a brand thing now. Like it's like you have to have a brand, and you like need
you have to do everything that the
t-shirts
label originally would have done for you,
Right.
but you're doing it on your own.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it is a lot tougher, because there is a situation where you're balancing out 8 different occupations while still trying to live a normal human lifestyle.
Right. But I kind of, you know, like I would rather do it. I would rather do that than working in a restaurant. I would prefer, I don't, you know, like as much as I hate emailing, I'm like, hey, like if this is what it takes, if this is the like, you know, if I have to be my own promotion or
put
PR
yourself out there
person or whatever, like it's worth it, because I would rather do this all day any day.
And so, like you said, you have trouble sometimes even getting emails sent to people.
Yeah.
I assume you have been sending them out to possibly, once we get shows back together, you've been sending stuff out to like put yourself in positions. Venues?
No.
No? It's just other. So when you're emailing people, is it just?
Well, I did before the record. I was like emailing like PR. And, KEXP, the radio station in Seattle.
Yeah.
They have on there, because I was like, how do I get my music on KEXP or KCRW? And so they have like a list on there where you can email all these different PR agencies and people that they work with that come. So I did email all of these emails, and like I was amazed, because I think I emailed like 20 different people, and it was like took all day. It was like such an emotional thing for me. I don't know why. I just like can't. I don't like it. But I got one response, so that was like 1 out of 20.
Hey, that's there's some people that don't even get any responses back,
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that's pretty crazy, the whole the aspect of being an independent artist, and those are the moves you have to make. And I could totally see where it gets overwhelming. I recently saw a bunch of people talking on social media about, it really does get overwhelming for a lot of people to respond to text messages or even answer calls. And it always tripped me out because I'm like, it doesn't, for me it didn't. But then now that I'm a little bit older and I do want to, focus on certain things, and other people are hitting me up, I do feel that anxiety now where I'm like, dude, I don't want to respond to this because I feel like if I respond to this person, it's gonna require a lot of my energy. They're gonna want something out of this, you know what I mean? Either, whether it be to hang out or they need me to, for a side gig or whatever the case may be. I'm always down to make money, but it's a situation where I don't want to put too much on my plate anymore. I want to just do what I want to do, and I feel like I've been privileged enough. I've made some moves where I don't have to do things that I don't want to do. You know what I mean? Obviously, I still have a 9 to 5, and
Right.
even a 9 to 5 after the 9 to 5.
Oh yeah.
I hustle pretty hard, but it's a situation where there's certain things where I'm like, yeah, if it's not gonna benefit me and move me forward with the stuff I want to do, with this creative content,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna let them know I'm not about
Right.
it.
I feel like boundaries are definitely a thing that you start to, as you get older, you start to like realize.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like, if you're on a mission for something, like whether it's like friends, like people that kind of like pull you into negative spaces that aren't quite on like the vibe or the frequency where you're going.
Yeah.
Like, those kinds of people, like, because I feel like it's like one of those things where it's so hard just for your own self, and as you're like growing and stuff, there's people that like there's takers.
Yeah. Oh, and there's people that just want to stay stagnant too. That just
Yeah.
want to be like, come stay stagnant with me and like, let's not do anything in life. And I'm just like, oh, dude, I've been doing that the last 10 years and it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, it really sucks,
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a situation where it's weird. Again, I feel like everything is a double-edged sword in the sense of like, while you're maturing and things should get easier and more free-flowing with the stuff you want to do, there's still that pressure of putting up boundaries. And I'm not the type of dude to ever even thought about that I would have boundaries, because I've always been such a person that's like, fuck it, let's do
Right.
it,
Yeah.
But now I'm like, nah, I can't be doing that all the time, because the clock is a ticking, and these next 10 years are crucial to who I'm
Create.
gonna be for the rest of my life.
Yep.
Because I spent my 20s being just
Lost.
like lost and taking risks that were dope. Like I traveled a lot of the world and stuff, but it was a situation where, and I'm still gonna continue to travel once they allow us, but it's one of those situations where I spend a lot of time fucking off.
Yeah.
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 And now it's like, it's one thing to be 30 and being like, oh, I spent my 20 a lot of times having fun and also a lot of fucking off. But now I can't be fucking off in my 30s because I don't want to be a 40-year-old that's just
No.
constantly fucking off.
No, that doesn't
You know?
look good.
Yeah, it's not a good look, definitely.
I feel like,
Just maturing, boundaries, all this vocabulary. I'm like, who the fuck are we? We're all old and shit now,
I know, right?
But it's cool. I embrace it.
I'm embracing the like inspiration and the hard work and all of that right now, because
For
I
sure.
feel like, yeah, like I put out this record and I'm super proud of it, and I put my heart and soul in it, and it was everything. But I'm like already like, okay, like I'm writing new stuff. Like I want to put out more music this year. Like I want to like keep on putting out better and better stuff and get better at my craft. And yeah, I feel like you said, time's a ticking. Like I don't want to just like lay in bed all day and watch TV and like.
Yeah. And there's a time and place for that too.
Yeah.
You could have patches of that,
You can
but
have
I just
days.
feel like,
You can have days.
for sure. And so like, let's get into it with the new album.
Yeah.
Go ahead and name it so everybody knows.
Uncommon Likeness.
Uncommon
Yeah.
Likeness. What was the derivative? What made you name that?
Well, so I was doing a lot of, so the record has like kind of two different sides of me. I feel like it has like the uppy, like
Yeah.
kind of like poppy aspect of me as a person, but then also like the dark intellectual parts.
Yeah.
And kind of how it's like I mashed them together into like one solid record.
Yeah.
And also I feel like as I was recording the record, I was taking the train up to LA, and just like everyone getting on like that blue line that goes through like Watts and Compton and all that, like it's such a, everyone's like in this like train together, and like it's like a city that's failed everyone, like Los Angeles is a mess.
Yeah.
But it's like there's like just this likeness that everyone's like sharing together. At the same time, you feel like you're like kind of a part of this weird fucked up energy that's going on that is LA.
Yeah.
But so I kind of felt like a lot of the experience of being in Long Beach and LA and stuff, and like taking the train up there and all of that kind of was like a part of like the uncommon likeness of like so many different things that shouldn't fit together can and do.
That's dope. That makes me like the album even more now, because it does feel like exactly you described it. It's the duality of loving growing up, or loving your life in the city, and constantly moving back and forth and making the most of it, but also understanding this shit's also fucked up, and there's a lot of fake shit. There's a lot of depressing aspects that can happen
but then beautiful shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I feel like especially on that blue line and stuff, like they were doing construction on it for a while, so you had to like take the bus on that for a while, and like you get like thrown off in like these crazy parts along that line, and like it's like trash and it seems so like messed up, but then like there's so many beautiful people everywhere that it's like kind of just this like really interesting beautiful thing at the same time. That's dope.
And that so uncommon likeness, that's where the name came from. And how long were you working on this album for?
A year and a half. Yeah. I met someone, his name is Jason Lowry.
Okay.
I was serving food at my restaurant, and he came in and with his girlfriend, and I was like serving them, and I was like, I bet this guy's a musician. I can tell. He's like skinny jeans, long hair, super skinny. I was like, this guy's totally a musician. And then we started talking, and turned out he was, and he produced music. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting, because I just was thinking about how I want to work with someone new and more in LA. Like I've always worked with people in Long Beach, and I kind of want to like expand to like LA is a whole city that I like. I'm in the Long Beach bubble,
Yeah.
And so we met up, and then it turned out he actually was from Colorado too, and like the first drummer of any of the music I'd ever done was the drummer of his last band.
Whoa.
So it was like this like karmic, cosmic.
See, and that's not, I don't think that's a coincidence. I feel like that's beyond, I don't know if you've ever taken shrooms or any type of psychedelics, but I feel like once you do, it puts you in a position where you meet people that it's like, what's the six degrees of separation? You know what I mean? And you're like, there's no way that this is just a coincidence that you were from the same origin and we know the same people. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it just kind of makes you feel like everything's predestined in a lot of ways.
Yeah, right? No, I don't like that. I don't like the whole.
Well, maybe you already time's moving in different ways. Like, what if you're already not predestined in any way, but maybe you've already lived this experience already.
Oh God. Yeah. I don't want to get too DMT on us right now, but yeah, definitely, it is a situation where it's those moments that make me realize that I do believe in some type of magic in life, as dark and depressing, especially this last year has been, and I feel like it's just beating all types of optimism out of a lot of us, and moving forward. But yeah, I look at those situations and I hear those stories, and I'm like, there's no way that is not just a coincidence.
Right. That's how I felt, and I was like, I think I need to record a record with you, and so yeah, we started working on it a year and a half prior to putting it out.
Dope. And you said that was in LA. You guys were recording. Okay. And Was this right before 2020 happened? Like you guys
Yeah.
started?
Yeah, we got most of the record done before the pandemic
Even happened.
arrived.
Yeah. I think, did you speak about this somewhere on the live stream? Maybe you were talking about how you got most of the work done before the
Yeah.
pandemic.
And then like we were like 85% done, and so then we had to like work remotely. So he would like get his computer set up, and like I would just like give him notes on things as he was like working on stuff. I'd be like, no, I want this to sound like this,
Yeah.
or I want it to sound like this. And
Side note, it does remind me, and I mean this in a extremely positive criticism. It reminds me of 2009, like when Mike Snow and Animal Collective and all that stuff was
Oh.
coming out,
Yeah.
and it felt like, you know, going into 2020, despite all the fucked up shit that was going on, it felt good when you dropped it. It reminded me of that time in 2009 when I just was
super into
lost, but it was cool. Like I was that whole era of music coming out of the internet at that time.
That's cool.
With
Thank
the
you.
synths and the bounce, and
Right.
it still has a hip hop feel, but you're doing, you know, it has like the indie rock stuff to it.
Yeah, so you feel the hip hop feel.
Yeah, for sure,
That's
for
cool.
sure. And yeah, so the intro of the album, it's a little, you know, sounds very atmospheric and dreamy, and then it goes into one of my favorite
Cinnamon Fuckboy.
yeah, that's CBF, Cinnamon Fuckboy.
CFB.
CFB, sorry. CFB. And I'm always down for when women objectify men the way we've, lived our whole lives in listening to music that objectifies women. So I like flipping the script. I like when women are like, no, you're the fuckboy, you know what I mean? And it can do something out of the, make a dope song out of it,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, Cinnamon Fuckboy was actually written. I was doing a documentary. I did the music for it, and it's about he's a black queer performer in New York City.
And that's what he goes by?
T-Boy.
T-Boy.
And there was a scene where this was like, we're still working on the edits of the film. It eventually will come out. But
Okay.
his story is still going, and documentaries are crazy. If the person's still alive, there's still so much to tell about them.
Yeah.
And just
Where'd you say he was from?
he lives in New York City.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's an underground performer there. Writes his own music, makes his own costumes, DJs. Like he's a full living artist. And so
Yeah.
my friend was like, okay, like you said you wanted to do film, like music for film. So here's my film. Like, here you go. It took 9 months.
Okay.
But I wrote Cinnamon Fuckboy when he's like putting on like leather in the mirror. And it's like this full bodysuit leather outfit that he had made. And I don't know, Cinnamon Fuckboy came into my head. I was just like, ooh, Cinnamon Fuckboy.
That's hilarious. See, and I didn't see the documentary, so now it gives a whole
The
new
documentary
meaning to
hasn't
the
come
song.
out yet.
It hasn't come out
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
All right, so that I
Yeah.
feel even better that I
Yeah,
haven't seen that.
yeah.
But I definitely will check it out when it drops.
One day, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
And was that the only song that you wrote?
Shout
for
out. It's called Black. It will be called Black Velvet.
Black Velvet.
Yeah.
That's a cool name.
And so yeah, so Cinnamon Fuckboy was written. It's kind of more it's more of like he's a Cinnamon Fuckboy is like, that's to me a positive thing.
Oh, okay. See, and I got the other
Well,
side of
there's
it.
the other spin on it.
Yeah,
too.
see, and as a listener, I got the
Yeah.
perspective of like, here's this girl calling, like, dissing maybe a dude that was just not with the right intentions, you know,
yeah.
and try to flip. Like, I thought I had the upper hand, but really you
Yeah.
flipped it on me, you know?
That's I felt that way as well. That's like another there, because like when you write stuff, sometimes there's many things.
Yeah,
that are
and
playing
everyone can
into that.
interpret it
Yeah.
differently, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's cool too, that there's that side of it too.
Yeah.
And that's cool that it's gonna go behind a soundtrack, because like I said, this album sounds like it should be in as many film pieces
Thank
as possible.
you. I mean, I would certainly like that because you get paid.
Yeah.
Get paid.
Yeah, and also it applies to even more art behind it. The art just intensifies
Yeah.
with the music.
Oh,
you know?
it changes it completely.
Yeah.
The song Boys Club was in a trailer for a film that came out at Austin Film Festival this year.
Dope.
And it was funny because like so much of my family were like people that don't really like. I wouldn't say they don't care about my music, but that was like they're like, oh my gosh, like he was in a film, like
Yeah.
oh my god, it was like a way bigger
Just
deal.
parents hyping it up. Yeah.
Way bigger deal than like me putting out the record.
Yeah, yeah.
You
That's
know?
that's
So I'm
funny.
like, oh, I got so many more messages from people. Like so many more people were like way more stoked and on it getting in a film than like anything else I've done, which is really interesting. It
Yes.
was like required the least amount of work.
and I mean that's usually how it goes for like the biggest songs and with the video, right? Like I've noticed there's a trend with the songs that get the most attraction, like for instance Tyler the Creator got big off of Yonkers, and he's
Yeah.
like the video and the song I made in less than an hour of all of it, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the song was made in 8 minutes as a joke, and then the video I just did something that I thought would look cool, and then it just became even bigger than he could
Yeah.
ever imagine, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So I feel like that could be applied with your situation, with
Right.
your family and friends, that the way
Yeah.
they saw it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And Boys Club, although I understand it's a great song, and did you choose that to be the single off the record?
No, it just was kind of how it was. As we were like finishing the record, I was like, I'm just to start putting out songs, singles. It isn't the single.
Yeah, oh yeah. It feels like it is.
I know because we did a
Video
music
for it, yeah,
it. But no, that wasn't like intended
Yeah.
as like the single, or I mean, it was mainly just like I need to start putting this stuff out, and this one's ready.
Yeah. And the video was you already had a concept for the video?
Yeah, I mean, when I wrote the song, I had a vision for it.
Okay.
So the song, when I was writing the song, it was like "Welcome to the Boys Club." I was just like imagining what's her name, the game show where like there's like the woman who like.
Oh
shows-
yeah. Vanna White.
Yeah, Vanna White.
Yeah.
Like I just like was imagining like some woman, like when I wrote the song, it was like some woman being like, "Welcome to the Boys Club," and it
Introducing
was
you.
like down this like hallway.
Yeah.
And there's like, and then it's like this like seedy, like all these white guys with like suits on,
Yeah.
and like just like that was the vision
Okay.
when I wrote the song. So it veered from that a little bit.
And what inspired you writing that? Like, did you watch a certain film, or was it?
No, it was kind of around the time of I mean, there was like Donald Trump, like the whole Donald Trump world
Yeah.
that emerged, as well as the Jeffrey Epstein shit.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
all of this like seedy underworld of
So at least I got that perspective
Yeah.
right on that song, because
Right.
it does remind me of the fact that like all these, as a male, you can, especially being a rich white male, you can get away with a lot of fucked up shit.
yes, and that they like protect each other.
Yeah, and it's power.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's the
Literally.
exact message that I got from
Yeah.
that song. But you do it in such a cool way. You know, it sounds cool and you could dance to it,
Yeah.
and you can forget about the contents of the lyrics if you
Right.
just want to vibe. You know.
Yeah.
But that's cool because you put the video to it, and it really did, tie in the visual perfectly with
Right.
the content of the music.
Yeah, that part was like, I liked the way that part wasn't originally in my like idea, but we flipped the script, and like I was like the white guy dancing.
Yeah.
I was like the rich white guy
Yeah,
dancing
yeah,
in his
for sure.
suit,
No, it's cool.
you
And
know?
who directed that?
Actually, Jason Lowry, the same guy
Okay.
who I recorded the record with.
Oh, so he's
Yeah.
just multi-talented.
Yeah, he wasn't even trying to be the director. It's just kind of how it happened. We were talking about it, and then there was a guy in our space that we were recording. His name's Eamon, and he's like
Temo was talking about it. Is it the same guy?
he I don't know. He just is like a he like does set design,
Okay.
and he's a pretty amazing set designer,
Okay.
and he
Might be a different Eamon that he was talking about.
Yeah, he's insane. Like he does stuff for like Miley Cyrus and all these like Megan Thee Stallion stuff. Like he's like does their crazy sets.
Brings the visuals.
So he was in our space, and we always talk to him every day. And then we asked him if he wanted it to be in on the video. He's like, yeah, hell yeah. I have this massive, chandelier I want to use for something, and it just kind of like
Dope.
worked from there.
Yeah, it has a cool feeling, and it reminds me of the whole noir times too, but like with color.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, it was a cool video. And how long did that take? How long were you guys shooting that for? Yeah.
Oh, we only shot it in like 3 hours.
Really?
We were like really limited on time.
Dope.
So it was quick.
Yeah.
Quick
And
to the point.
and on the album, was it just you and Jason that made all the music?
Yeah. Frank Lenz played drums.
Oh,
And he was the guy who played drums in my last project.
For sure.
Yeah.
Dope.
He's like one of the coolest humans I've ever met. He's like in his, he's like in his 50s at this point. I don't know if he wants me saying that out loud, Frank, but
he's an OG.
He's an OG. He's
Yeah.
so good at drumming.
Yeah,
and he's
no.
like so interesting and creative and I don't know, wild guy. He's a total
Yeah, that's
character.
dope. I like the bounce on Disco Daddy and for the for the Limelight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are yeah, it's perfect. It has like a hip hop bounce.
Yeah.
And but it ties in with the bouncy synths, and I think it just has a really cool collective of all of the dopest sounds that have come out in the last 15 years.
Thank you.
And you did a good
That's
job
so cool.
executing that, and the finished product is awesome. And I'm just excited that it came out it came out
2020.
no but I'm saying like in midway of 2020.
It came out December.
That's so the
11th.
fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
Yeah.
So it was like towards the end.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been out for too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only a month, like 2 months.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And I'm just excited for it to be recognized more, and I would love to see it in more films and more visual effects.
Yeah.
And it definitely is an album that has been on repeat, and it gave me such a good feeling seeing Andy and Christian and Temo play it with you live. Yeah.
Actually, now we're all working together. We're all like we started a project kind of together, and I'm doing backup vocals for Temo's record, and like we're doing like side project thing with them.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool. I told Temo that you guys all, from Steve Choi to you guys remind me of the Wu-Tang, but for musicians. You guys are all cool at what you do, and I'm just glad that you guys all love each other and love playing music, because you guys give us cool stuff to listen to. You know what I mean?
I mean, they're all so talented.
They're all so talented.
Yeah.
You as well
so
too.
So many talented people in that community.
Yeah.
It's cool.
So, and then I feel like we'll leave that on a positive note. Do you have anything coming out soon? I know you just dropped the project.
I'm gonna be putting out the album on vinyl.
Oh, dope!
So that's cool.
I'm gonna pick up a copy for sure.
But no, nothing specific other than that. Recording with Temo and.
You said, but you were telling me you had another video possibly.
Oh yeah, there's another music video eventually coming out, but I'm not sure when it will be done.
Yeah.
It's a friend of mine is doing it, and she's working on it.
Cool. The video's done, but it's just right now. It's just in the editing.
Editing, yeah.
Yeah.
For Disco Daddy.
Oh hell yeah! Dope.
Yeah.
Dope. Where'd you guys film at?
In the desert in Joshua Tree.
Dope. And who shot the album cover before we leave?
Oh, that was with a couple friends in Long Beach.
Cool.
Caitlin McGinnis and Jose Espinoza.
I feel like it captured your soul.
Yeah, it was a fun shoot. Yeah. We made it work. We went to like the side of this Japanese restaurant right across the street from the Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles.
Oh hell yeah!
And like
I know where that restaurant.
Weird. I'm dressed in this weird because we found this red wall that we wanted to.
Yeah.
So we brought the cactus there.
Dope.
Like put it down in this giant pot, and like there's like piss on the ground everywhere. It was great.
Yeah, that's funny. Artsy Long Beach fools making something out of nothing. You know.
Yeah, totally. That's the best stuff.
That is dope. So yeah, so for now, just keep streaming and look out for the vinyl and other just keep streaming Uncommon Likeness like that. That's an amazing
you.
project.
Please.
So keep an eye out for that. And then, Angela, anything you want to leave?
No, just I'm really grateful that you invited me here.
Dope.
I think that you guys are doing a really cool thing.
Hey,
so.
thank you. Yeah, I'm just cool. I'm excited to, bring together all of you guys and give you guys a platform to express
Totally.
yourselves, especially during a time when you guys didn't have anything to express yourselves on,
Yep.
And I want to make the most of it. So when you do have the video or you have another project coming out, come back and let's talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll dive
Keep
deeper
on
into the
going.
weirdness. Yeah.
I can't wait to see all who you interview this year.
Yeah. No, we got some cool stuff planned. So
Cool.
just gotta stay at it. But yeah, thank you.
Thank
We're
you.
done. Oh, Angela's gonna do a live performance. I always forget too. I always rush things. She's gonna do another sick ass performance. What do you know? What songs gonna perform?
I'm gonna do For the Limelight.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Angela,
Sounds
Jane
good.
Bachmann, everybody.
Yeah.
Truanseez, we out.
Yeah.
Hell
Stopping nothing, babe. 'Cause you're caught up in your own damn dreams. It's not hard enough, babe. 'Cause I've been following this thing with you. Did you hope to die for it? Did you hope to see yourself in the drain? Did you have to find your mere boy? See it on the face of what you've come to desire. Did you light it up for the faithful? Did you light it up for the limelight? Did you light it up for the sinners? Did you light it up for the pretty words you say? Don't call my name, don't call out there. I'm not gonna find the net before you hit the ground, 'cause you're on a holy high. And I've been following this thing with you. Did you hope to die for it? Did you hope to see yourself in the drain? Did you come to find your mere boy? See it on the face of what you've come to desire. Did you light it up for the faithful? Did you light it up for the limelight? Did you light it up for the sinners? Did you light it up for the pretty words you say? Is anyone here to call you out? Is anyone here to call you out? Is it the secrets that's searching inside your mind? Is anyone there too? Is anyone there? Did you hope to die for it? Did you hope to see yourself in the drain? Did you have to find your mere boy? See it on the face of what you've come to desire.
That was For the Limelight, performed by the First Lady of Truanseez. Go stream Uncommon Likeness everywhere now. Peace.